Welcome to Niche Games Devlog 5. In this video, we're going to be talking all about improvements, a little bit about future plans, and then if you stay until the end, I'm actually going to try to trap 15 enemies all together on game mode Safe Center. Everybody, before we get started, if you don't mind, please like, subscribe, and comment below. I especially love the comments, keep them coming. Quickly moving on to game improvements. It's been just over a week since my last video, and while last time I did add game modes, I did not make it so the game mode text would update. I have corrected that so they all show the appropriate game mode. I've also corrected this weird little bug that didn't affect gameplay but affected the visuals, where the enemy slime or whatever he is gets trapped in a block when you push him. This error was happening due to two different ways for the enemy to move. One of them is where he will move just like a block, and the other one is where he will actually try to transform his way over to his designated spot. The error was occurring when I tried to push him and he was trying to move at the same time, and the math didn't quite work out. The enemy would get to his destination but hadn't shown that he had been pushed all of the way. The fix to this was quite easy, and I was able to figure it out in my head before I ever tried to put pen to paper. Once the enemy got to his destination, I just needed to negate his push force. And I'm using the term push force to describe what you're seeing on the screen. It's really just a number of clicks whenever I push them. I've also added to the enemy animations. When you come in contact with the enemy and lose, he'll now make a eating type motion. I thought that looked a little bit better than him just running in place. I've also made an idle animation, and that loops straight into a trapped animation, where the enemy will kind of cower down and look around when trapped. I almost forgot to mention that I added Xbox and Xbox-like controller controls. This was so easy with Unity's new input system. Once the system is initially set up, it's very easy to add to. I will say that the initial setup was quite confusing though. It seems like everything about mouse position and everything like that is completely wrecked by the new system, so you have to learn the new way of doing it. I was able to find help on one of Bracky's tutorials, and while I didn't fully understand it, I was able to get it implemented, and I was even able to change it and make it to what I needed it to be. The rest of my improvements have to do with game mode Pacify. I have added death animations and particles to both blocks and enemies. When an enemy is shot, there's a splash of blood, there are bits of the body that are dropped, and though it's a little more difficult to notice, the bits that are left behind bleed out a little bit. The blocks just blow up in chunks of smaller blocks. It's not that interesting, but it does add something to it. I have also added a laser shot sound and an impact sound. I'm more happy with the impact sound than I am with the laser shot sound. I can always circle back and improve these later, but for now, I'm a novice at making sound, and this will have to do. That wraps up the improvements. Now moving on to near future plans. I am hoping by next video, maybe in a week or so, to have all new themes, that is different backgrounds, different blocks, and a different game board. Also, to have different skins on the existing enemies, and maybe even whole new enemies. While they may act the same, they'll be different models. Also, I have one little annoying bug that I want to fix. If you push down near the end or beginning of a level, it seems like you can actually get outside of the grid area. While I can't replicate the error every time, I suspect that not everything is done loading by the time the game has reinitialized itself. In essence, you have controls of where you are, but the game doesn't know exactly where you're at that time. I'm thinking I'll add a little void loop that will check to make sure you're in the appropriate spot for whichever game mode you're currently playing, and only allow the game to proceed after that. Okay, lastly, I have been getting a lot of good suggestions, and I am taking them to heart. With the modest but growing support I have on these videos, I am almost willing to commit to adding an arcade mode. It's not the only game mode that I have in mind that I would be willing to add later, but it is one where I could just throw a lot of different types of game elements and ideas all together, pretty much consequence free. One level doesn't have to look like the other level. So keep those suggestions coming. I really want to add as much of it as I can. I have been talking for longer than I usually have, so I am just going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching the video, thanks for everybody's comments and support, and I'll see you next time.